Hey everyone, I hope everyone is having a great day. In today's video, I'm going to be upgrading my old, slow BMW e46 radio that I've had installed for the last couple of months to a brand new AVANT USA radio. Supposedly this radio is supposed to have a 1-second boot up time, and it does. In my story, if anyone saw that, it has a more of a OEM look. It has no logo on the front of it and more buttons to go with the OEM look of the actual navigation unit that was available in 2002. This radio is running Android Oreo 8, and it's supposed to have an octa-core processor, which should be much faster, more RAM. And let's install it and see how it goes. So here's just a quick look of everything that comes in the box. Got a user's manual. Some foam. The actual radio. All the harnesses that are needed. There's two different harnesses depending on what type of car you have and what your car has for a harness, and we'll go through that once we install it. I opted for a backup camera, which you guys will be seeing a video on that too. More cables that we'll go through and figure out what we need, but that's really it. You will need this CAN bus, some USB, some stuff for hands, radio stuff. We'll go through everything and figure out what we need. So this video will be more of an upgrade video than an install, because I already have a navigation unit and I'm upgrading it. I'm not installing it from the factory radio. If you would like to see a video of me installing this radio from a factory radio, go back and check out my other video, which I will link. But the first thing we're going to start off with, which many of you guys should be familiar, is taking off this trim piece right here. And to do that, I'm going to use a plastic pry tool to make it easier to get up behind it and not break anything. And as you can see, it's starting to just pop right out, and there's more clips that you have to work your way down, and eventually you can just use your hand for the last one. I'll just pull the whole piece out. There we go, it came out. So now I'm gonna flip the camera and we're gonna remove the next one. So now let's remove the next one. So the next one is, it's just, this pulls out and there's a far clip way over here, and to do that I'm just gonna use my hand and kind of wiggle it back and forth. I'm not actually gonna pry in there. And there we go, and it did come out. I mean, my windshield wiper arm did move a little, but that's okay. So now that that's out, let me reposition the camera and show you the two screws we do need to remove. So the two screws that we do need to remove, because we are just removing a we already have an aftermarket radio installed, and we're just removing these two top screws. Now let's remove the other one. All right, now that that's removed, we have to actually remove the AC unit, the vents. And to do this, it's kind of difficult, and the only way I've been able to really do it is just to pull up as hard as I can, and it does pop out. And then you can't actually fully remove it because there's a wire and it's just a pain, so I just kind of flip it and rest it up there like that, and it won't impede on anything. So now let's get the radio out. So now the radio, that's all that holds in the radio. It just slides out now, and I'm going to have a jungle of cables behind this just because I have other stuff plugged into it. So I'm just gonna throw you guys in a time lapse, and I'm just gonna start disconnecting everything. Alright, now that I have the actual old radio out, I am left with this connector, which is my stock connector, and as you can see, I have the one with all the circles in it. These wires right here, don't mind it, unless you do have this installed. This is a iBus controller, so I can have all my iBus features to control like PDC. I can see all the temperatures all through the iBus interface on my actual radio, which is a really cool thing. So I had to tap into the OEM connector right here. I also have, this is the OEM radio connector, which you will need if you want to use the radio. I also have a microphone connector, a Wi-Fi connector, and a GPS connector. I'm hoping they're the same style connector, so I do not need to rerun it, because that would be a big pain in the ass. My Wi-Fi module, my Bluetooth module is stuck right up here, and my Wi-Fi module is stuck right back in here too, just literally sitting in there, and I've had no connection issues. My microphone, I did have to run up to the top, but I'm pretty sure this one has a built-in microphone, so I'll confirm that in a second. So you might not even have to run it if you don't want to. So let me get the connectors out, the proper connectors out that I need, and get the radio out and show you guys how to put it in. So after going through the wire harness, I did find out I need this one, well, this one right here, which this is, see how I have all these round pins? That's what my connector has. You can see that. But it also comes with this one for the other style radio, and you just pick which either one you have and it will plug up into it, and these ends are the same. I don't need this one, so I'm just gonna put this one to the side. So you will need one of these, definitely. This is the Wi-Fi antenna. My Wi-Fi antenna is the exact same, so I'm not gonna replace it. Literally, I just have it sitting right here. However, I did notice the GPS module, the connector is different, and I am going to replace that, but mine is sitting right up here in either way, so it's easy to install, so you will need that. This will be for your antenna, so you will need this for the actual antenna piece to get radio if you'd like radio. It also comes with this, and this is for if you have an aftermarket amp, which I do not, so I will not be worrying about that, so we'll throw that to the side. You also get this, which is for your backup camera. I'm not installing a backup camera today. I will be doing a whole separate video, so I'm just going to leave this to the side as well. You will definitely need this CAN bus decoder for your steering wheel controls and everything like that, so this is very important. And the last thing that you're probably going to need is these Wi-Fi, these USB cables right here. So if you have USB devices such as this iMod thing, or I even have my USB to iPhone cord, so I can have my CarPlay adapter, which will also be using this. So the first thing I want to do, because I know I would need to change the GPS module, is just pull out the GPS module, which is right here. This is my old one, so I'm going to throw that to the side, and I am going to pull out the new one. So here is the new one. I don't know if it's magnetic or not. Let's see. No, because there's a metal piece up there that I have it attached to. It's just a metal bar sitting right there that I will be attaching it to. So I'm going to unravel some. I'm not going to unravel all of it just because, well, it's super long and I don't need all that length. So we'll just unravel a little bit. So what I've done, just giving myself some room here and some room here, and I'm going to pull off, it is a piece of double-sided sticky tape. So we'll pull that off, throw that aside, and just find a good spot to stick it to. And it's literally sitting, it's stuck to that metal bar that's just sitting in there, and I think that's a pretty good spot. I mean, it's the only other spot I could find for it to sit. So let me show you guys a closer look of how it's sitting. So I literally have it sitting right on that metal bar, and my Wi-Fi module, my Wi-Fi antenna is sitting right there. I know it's kind of dark for you guys to see, but that is kind of how I did it, and so far for my last radio it worked out fine, so I'm assuming it's going to work out fine again. So now let's take our harness. So you'll notice there are two. The reason why there's two on this is you had a C changer in the back, or you had the factory navigation, you would need this and another adapter, and you would need probably these, but we don't have that in my car. I just going to need this connector, but we are going to need this CAN bus decoder, and it plugs in right here. This one's for the CAN bus, this one's going to go to the radio, so let's just connect that now. Only goes in one way. That little clip should be sitting there, and now we're going to take the only one that we need, match up these cables. So make sure you pull this up all the way so it clicks, and you're going to match up the top right there with the top over here. So the wording right here, you want to go to the top up here, and it should hopefully just slide in. It's in. It doesn't feel like it goes in that far, actually. I think that might be normal. Yeah, so it doesn't actually push in that far. It looks like it might push in a lot farther than it actually does. And then push down on this connector till it clicks. And when it clicks, you'll feel that it's actually locked it in place. And now we have that all locked in place, which is awesome. And again, don't need to worry about this connector if you don't have the factory radio. And these connectors are capped off, so don't worry about that. Or this is a CD AV in, so you don't need to worry about that. Just stuff them somewhere in the back. And this is the only connector that's going to the radio from this harness. So the next thing I'm going to do is get my USB stuff, plug this in, and snake a cable down to my glove box for my CarPlay adapter, which again, you might not have, but that's something I'm going to do. So this is pretty cool. I just plugged in this adapter. So this is the USB cable right here. It has two connectors on it. It has a short USB cable that's near the back, and two longer ones are in which I'm going to snake down to the glove box area. So that's pretty cool that they put a short one that they're knowing you're going to use an adapter like this. So now we have all these cables just sitting here ready to be connected to the radio, and that's the next thing we're going to do is connect this to the radio. One last thing I forgot to mention before connecting this that you might need. You may need this connector right here which comes in it if you have the older style antenna. So it would adapt it from this old style to this new style. But because my car already has the new style antenna, it's the same as this, it will connect directly to the radio with no adapters, which is nice. And that was another issue I had with the Enon radio. I had so many adapters to get to the radio, and that made the radio sound like junk. So hopefully this helps and improves it. So here's the radio here, and the first thing I'm going to do is connect the actual main harness connector, which is right here, to the radio. It looks like, let me turn this around for you guys. It looks like right here, it just connects. There is a fuse in the back, which is not always nice, so it looks like it just connects like that, and it's in. All right, so now the next thing we're gonna do is, there actually is no mic. There's an onboard mic right here, so I can't even use my pre-existing mic. There's an onboard mic right there, which is always, that's fine. We'll just use that. Just back this up a little so I get a wider view. So we'll just use that, the onboard mic, which is great. It's closer, easier to use. You don't have to run wires. But the next thing we are going to connect is the Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi is this antenna right here. If you used your pre-existing one, or if you didn't have one, you ran one, and it just plugs in one way. And like I said, I have it sitting behind the dash, so you just put it on and screw it in. So I want to angle it kind of like, I want to angle it like that, just so I have room for these connectors. The next thing we can do is the actual antenna. So the antenna is kind of weird. I didn't understand how it was going to fit, but I will show you right now. So if you can see, flip it like this for you guys. So if you can see, the antenna spot is right here, and the antenna actually goes in sideways. I thought it'd go like this. I'm like, how's that gonna fit? It goes in sideways. So, I have it completely wrong. It goes in sideways where this top connector is lining up with that little notch right there, and it just pushes in like that, easy. All right, so what is left? So now we also have to do, oh, that just came out. We'll worry about that actually later, just because it is very bulky and it did just kind of pop out on me. I must have not had it seated right completely. So we're gonna push that cable back because I don't need it. The next thing we're gonna hook up is my USB cables, and those go, I'm gonna look on the actual guide to find out where they go. B and C, and I don't think these things matter. Oh yes they do, they only go in one way. So B is the top one, and it's, again, these connectors only go in one way, so they're the top ones. They only fit in one slot. So the two top connectors right here are the USB ones if you're going to use them, and they only go in one way, which is excellent, so you cannot mix these two up. The next thing we have to connect is the Wi-Fi adapter. I mean the GPS module so you have GPS signal. So that goes in one way as well. Line it up. This connector, actually, you want to have it go down, sit like this into it, so it goes in like that. So it's going down, a nice down angle, which is always nice. So the last thing we need to do is connect this cable that fell out, and I don't know why it fell out. I may have not had it pushed in all the way, so let's figure that out. This rat's nest of wires going on. All right, so let's plug this cable in again. Make sure it's in all the way. So that is an issue. It's not seating itself all the way in correctly. Ah, that's why. You really got to push in on it for that pin to pull around. And it will click in like that, and now the radio is everything that we would need connected is connected. So what I want to do now is turn it on and test it. So you're probably gonna need your keys to turn on the radio. So let's flick it in position 2, and let's hit the power button. And look at that, booting right up. And this is the first boot, so it could be slower than it actually is. I like that there's no CD player on that. That's really really nice, makes it look more modern. I don't need a CD player, no one really uses it. This thing has Bluetooth. It has you can mirror your phone, Android or iPhone. You can mirror towards it. You can plug it in. Ooh, that looks nice. Sweet. All right, so now that we know it's working, let's go. Let me just make sure I have audio. Oh, we're gonna need to change that. Okay, let's make sure I have audio. Sweet, we got audio. All right, so now I'm going to shut this off and put it back in and push everything into where it needs to, and I'll show you guys how I'm going to do that. So one thing I actually forgot to mention is that this harness right here does support a mic. So I am going to use my factory mic, but if you don't, there is a mic on the front of it and you can use that too, but I will be plugging this up right now so I can use my factory mic. One more thing I should mention is I ended up using the new Wi-Fi signal because I was not getting any Wi-Fi signal. I don't know why. My other one might be junk, so I did end up using the new one, which should hopefully sound better. All right, so now that it's plugged up, I can plug my mic up. And the mic is now plugged in. So now I have everything that I want plugged up. So now I tested the radio, it works. So now we can actually put the radio back in. So let's do that now. So there really is no good way to get all these cables back in, and I just kind of work them in and shove them in and get the radio to sit in. There's, like I said, there's no good way to do this. There's too many cables that need to fit in and not enough room. So you're gonna have to play around. You're definitely gonna have to use this hole up here to shove some of these cables way back there. And one good thing about this radio though is there is room here. As you can see, the radio is only this size, so you should use that to your advantage. I sometimes like to go over and put it in the back, but I'm gonna see if I can actually, what I can fit down below this time. I know this big block connector I do not think will fit down below just because there is another one. So I'm gonna use that upper corner that there is some access for some space up there, and that's kind of how I had my old radio, and it worked out pretty well. One thing I really like about this radio is that I'm gonna pull it out to show you, because because my other radio is not like this, is that there's these two pins that go out like this to hold the bottom in to get a nice clean fit. My other radio did not have that, and it did not have a clean fit. Let me see if I can show you guys. So right here, there's these two metal spring pins that need to be pushed in, and I'm wondering why my radio will not go in. I'm like, this is a tight fit. But you really have to push in. It has that nice clean, it holds it in, it holds it tight, and makes it look super good. So I'm gonna test my radio one more time to make sure everything is functioning correctly. And I did pull up that screen protector, and there is another one that's actually under it, that little plastic piece that you could pull off that said like remove or something like that. Just double check that my iBus app is working, so I did install that off camera. iBus. It says ready. It's looking like it's good. Let's make sure we have radio. So now that the radio is back in, I just fully tested everything, making sure everything is working right, and it is. It's awesome. I'll go through a couple of things that I've noticed right off the bat, but let's put this piece back in, and to do that, you just line it up and just push. Might be a wire in the way. Nope. You just have to push in, making sure that it's like flat while it goes in, and then just line this up to how you like it. It's kind of preference. And then you're gonna take your two screws and your screwdriver, and we're just gonna throw these back in. Sweet. Now that that's in, you can take your trim piece, take the first one that goes above the radio, and push that back in. So that's in. And then you can take your other trim piece. Let me just move the camera so you can see this. You can take your other trim piece, line it up, and this one just requires a little just beating it in. And there you go, it's in. So now let's turn on the car again and show you what the radio looks like. So here's just a quick look at the radio. Here's the user interface. I've already installed my app so I can see everything about my car, which is great. You can see my windows open. Another thing, I've installed this Android Auto app. It's not connected right now. Well, Android Auto or CarPlay app, I've installed that. One thing I've noticed is with my old radio, I used to always have to be on the CarPlay menu. I could never be on this iBus app, and it would always lag, like the music would cut in and out if I was on this iBus app, but not anymore. It's super quick. Boot up time's awesome. I changed it to the boot up logo of my car, which you can go in here and go car. I think it's under extra settings. Maybe it's under driving setting. It was somewhere, it was one of these menus, or factory settings maybe. The factory setting password I think was 126. Yep, and that let you in. Here we go. So under the factory settings, then you can click car logo, and I changed it to a BMW logo for when it boots up, which is pretty cool. And there's some other stuff to do with the CAN bus and radio, all stuff like that. But so far, I'm loving this radio much more than my Enon radio. No logo right here. There is a little logo right there for the AVANT, but it's not as bad, and this definitely looks way more factory than the BMW, than the Enon radio. So it looks so cool. I love it. No CD player. I think it sounds better too, which is even weirder because I thought the Enon made it sound better. I think this sounds better than the Enon. It could just be my ears or just me thinking that, but so far that is what I think. If you guys like this video, stay tuned for the review to find out everything about this radio, and stay tuned to see how to install a backup camera. That's really it for this. I will put a link to the description of where this radio can be purchased. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I will get back to them. That's it for this video. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.